All right. Hello and welcome to Cousin Chat, where we talk about what matters. I'm your host, Donna Pazant, and today we are talking about bouncing back after a huge loss. And I could not do this chat today without my friend, Regina. Regina, say hello to the people.
Hello, my beautiful people. Hello. Feels
Now, if
good to
you
be back.
Oh, sorry. If you
Mhm.
are new to Cousin Chat, then maybe you don't know who she is. But if you are not new, then you know that she's been on here before. She's a professional life coach. She is a professional organizer and a motivational speaker. So if you ever need her to come to any events, just contact me or contact her and she'll be right there. But today I have her on because I think this topic is so important to talk about so other people can know that they're not alone in how they might be feeling after
Mhm.
experiencing a huge loss, because that bounce back is not as easy as it may sound. And it's not as easy for some people. Some people it takes them a long time. So we're just going to start today with just a little bit of conversation. And we hope that by the end, you will leave blessed and encouraged by some of the things that we say in this chat today. So, Regina, unfortunately, you and I both know about experiencing great losses and then
Mhm.
having to bounce back. So, your loss was actually kind of recent. So, you are right in the throes of the bounce back. So, I
Mhm.
would like to ask you, what would you say is the first step to bouncing back?
Well, first of all, I want to thank you for allowing me to come back and grace your beautiful platform. So thank you so much, Donna. Um, well, let me just go back a little bit. My mother, Doris Faye Smith Noble, excuse me, Noble Smithwick passed away April 1st of this year. So it's only been 4 months now. So, like you said, I'm just in the midst of coming back. This is the first podcast I have done since January. So I went through her sickness, illness, and to she transitioned. So um, hope I'm not a little rusty. But the the first stages of bouncing back, just being present, just kind of getting yourself back in on the foundation, just getting your foundation stable again. Not putting too much pressure on it, but just being more present. Because everybody breathes differently.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of was just like, I just pulled myself back out of everything and kind of just said, listen, I'm not doing nothing. I'm not going to commit myself to anything. I'm not going to say I could do, I'm just going to just whatever. I just didn't care at the moment because I knew I needed that time for me. So now I'm kind of engaging more and reaching out more and being more present and being more intentional with my movements. I wasn't like that. I didn't care. So now I'm starting to care again. So I think to me, that's the beginning stages. Just kind of jump back into life and being intentional on your movements or what you do.
Yeah, and that's definitely important to be intentional. And I would also add, don't let people force you to do things. If you're
Mm-hmm.
not ready to do something, don't let anybody force you, like, oh, come on, it's time to, you gotta get out of that funk. Let's go. Look.
Mm-hmm.
And well, that leads me to my next question. How important
Mm-hmm.
do you believe your circle is into during your bounce back process? How important do you think your circle is? I was going to go
But
there, but since that was my next question, I'll let you
but
have
look,
it, then I'll chime in.
I'm gonna touch what you just said though, because that's important. People do it because out of love, right? There's some people who have not experienced this. I was told by our friend Yolanda Torres Ritchie when she lost her mom back in 92. She was one of the first ones to lose her mom in our age bracket, at that younger age. And she was pregnant with her twins at the time when she lost her mom. And I was up with the coffin with her. And she said, Regina, this is a club that you never want to join. And she said, appreciate your mom and love her because this pain is something I can't describe. And I got her, but you don't get it until it's you.
That's right.
You only get the surface of the loss because of course it's somebody you love and it's their mother, you can feel and be sensitive, to it. But you don't know until you lose your mother. It's a whole nother feeling, right? So a person who doesn't have that doesn't understand it, but they trying their best. And the only thing they know to do is try to get you to wake up and shake you up and go, come on, it's out of love, but they don't get it. And sometimes it's more annoying, and not in a bad way, but it's hard to explain to someone who haven't had that loss. It really is. It really, really is. So I just want to touch on that, because a lot of times people do that, but they do it out of love and they don't know better. But the circle of friends that you have with you is so important. And I've been around people who had lost. You've won, Pia, my best friend, just lost her mother 2 years ago. And my other best friend, Yolanda, lost her mother a while ago. So I have close-knit people, my aunts and everybody who lost, of course, their mother. So I have people in the circle who've been there. So they kind of understood to a point, and they kind of know me as a person. So they were able to kind of formulate this perfect storm of handling me, because they knew me and they knew the loss, and they could kind of go tell it to me. That's a difference, you know what I'm saying? So it was great. I had a lot of support, but on the same note, I didn't have, how can I say this? Some of the people that I thought would be there more, they wasn't. And then the people who I never thought they would was. And I got caught up in that. Because I was like, how can you not? After I was there for you when you lost your mother, and I did this for you, and I did that for you, and I did it. And they didn't do exactly what I did for them. And I got personal. And I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
Because what I did out of love, and you're not supposed to try to do tit for tat. You're supposed to let it go and just do what you're supposed to do, because God said you take care of people. You're not taking care of people to get rewarded by that person you're taking care of. You're supposed to do it because that's what we are taught, and this is what I'm telling you to do.
Right.
And I did get caught up in that because I was already hurt. So it was easy for me to direct that hurt to other people who I was expecting to be there in a certain way that they wasn't. But there was people who I never expected in a million years, who barely knew my mother, was there like 10 times fold. So that's how God works, right? He puts the right people in the place for you at the time you need it. And it's not going to be who you design it to be. It's going to be who he decides it to be. So
now, when you sit back and think about those people who were not there like you thought they would be, knowing everything that you know about their character, did they do what they knew how to do? Because, everybody doesn't know how to help someone through a process like that, even if you're close. Like, everybody doesn't know what to say. They don't know what to do. So they kind of they might keep their distance a little bit, but thinking that they're giving you space, and trying not to crowd you. Like, did you ever think about, like, after you got out of your feelings a little bit, did you ever think about, well, maybe they didn't do what I expected because of this, or maybe it was too hard for them? I don't know. Did you ever think about why they didn't step up? Or did you kind of
That's a real good question, Dorman. That's a real good question. So there's two sets of people. So there's the people who are in your category you just described. So you got those people who never had that loss. They don't really understand. So sometimes they feel that if I just give you time, you'll come to me when you're ready, right? So those are those people. But there's another set of people who lost their mother, and I was part of that process when they lost their mother. So they've been through the loss. I was there. I did what I did. And when it happened to me, I didn't get half of what I did for them when they lost their mother. So that's why I took it personally. Because if you didn't know, I gave you the blueprint on how it's done, because I did it for you. So that's why I took it personally, because I was like, there's no excuse. You should know how to do this. Well, but then let's add what you just said, though, on top of that. Even though you do stuff with people, it doesn't mean they automatically get it. And if they're who they are, they're only able to give you what they have, regardless of what you did for them. So that's all. Like I said, this has been a learning curve and a learning journey for me. And God had worked with me through this, because I'm telling you, girl, that month before and that month after, I was like, complaining, I was griping. I was like, I can't believe I'm doing all this by myself and nobody's helping me out. And I'm the only child and I got to plan all this stuff. And then I'm talking to this one, talking to that one, and like even my aunt got involved because my mother's sisters wasn't really as involved, as they usually are with other people. And she had to call and go, she just lost her mom. That's our sister, but that's her mom. How y'all not helping her out? She's the only child. Like nobody else is here.
Right.
That's how far it got. But then one of my friends, he told me, he listened to me gripe, he listened to me complain. He said, Regina, I'm gonna tell you why it is. Because you always look like you have it together. You always look like you don't have issues. You always look like you're the person that put things together. You're the one that organize stuff. You're the one that always got a smile on your face. You never show that you're upset. So what you expecting people to act like? If they don't never see you needing someone or being weak, how would they think that you need them now? So you can't get too upset. That's a curse, but it's a blessing because you do usually get it together. But at this time, but they don't know. And I never thought of it that way.
And it's interesting, even I would never think of applying love languages to grief. However, when you think about the way that people say show love or give love, and then versus how people like to receive it, sometimes it's not the same. So all of those things that you did for those people, that's how you show your support when someone is grieving. That may not be how they show it. Like that, you just might be on two different levels. It's not that I can't speak for them, but just in the mindset of how people show support through grief, it looks different. Just like the grieving process looks different, probably the support for someone who is grieving can look different too. So who knows why they didn't step up like they did, like you expected them to. It could be like, well, this is the way I know how to support Regina. Other than this, like I know what she did for me, but that's not me. You know what I'm saying? I don't know that I can do that for her, but I will do what I can. Now, hopefully there was something done, you know what I'm saying? To at least acknowledge, everything. But, people,
But we're not supposed to, and that's another lesson I had to learn, Donna. What you said is exactly 100% correct. But what I had to learn too is I had to put faith in God and not into people as much, we kind of programmed to do that because it's a balancing act, right? Because we told God said, we supposed to look out for our people. We supposed to love our neighbors. We supposed to, so you do that, but then he's like, wait a minute. I ain't say depend on everything on them. You're supposed to depend on me and I'll guide that in which, who needs to be, So it's kind of like sometimes you go a little too far on one side, and so that's what I think I did. I kind of went too far on that people
let me stop you for a second because I'm chuckling over here because we always go right into my next question without even trying.
That's the way we are. We like that. We like that. We got that.
So in sync. And my next question was going to be, well, faith is a very important part of this process. How did your faith play a part in your bouncing back process, though?
Well, seeing that, I answered half the question already.
Because we know that without faith, this bounce back, there is no bounce back.
Yeah,
and without faith, so
right. If you're a believer, I don't. You got to believe in something. You don't fall for everything, right? So I knew that. I'm gonna get a little emotional on this one. So when my mother was going through her pain, she just kept calling Jesus. She wasn't really coherent. She was in so much pain. The only thing that come out of her mouth is Jesus, over and over and over again. I knew everything she taught me was coming out right there. She showed me right then everything she taught me. You call in the name of Jesus. We don't know nothing else. And she did on her last days.
that told me that, first of all, she did a great job doing what she's supposed to do with me. And she believed in the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ to the last minute. So that alone was enough for me, because I knew that where she's at now, I knew that she was in her own way telling me this is what is the right thing to do. You believe even when you don't understand. I didn't understand. I understood because I was taught, but when it's your mom, it's a whole nother feeling, because you feel that she's just not now. It's never the right time, you know? And I was just like, it was just the best lesson I ever learned, just to hear her call his name, even when she was in the worst pain she ever been in her life. She could have been mad, upset. She could have took it personally, but she did. So that faith kind of kept me going. And I know how I operate, because I got everything. So being busy was my greatest thing. But now I'm starting to really feel it, because it's starting to slow down. So now I got to still kind of deal with it and remembering, because, everybody has different ways of dealing with, like, some people I know, their mother just passed away. They wasn't there. They didn't see it. They just, somebody called, or they didn't get a chance to see the face or see the suffering. Some people see the suffering. Some people see their mother being perfect all the way to the last day when they disintegrate. So it just counts. And I seen her disintegrate, and she opened her eyes by just the body doing it. Is not her. And I could see right through her. She couldn't even see me no more. Her eyes, she looked like she was dead, but she was alive. And I keep seeing that. And that bothers me, because that last time I got a chance to look at her, I couldn't really see her because she couldn't see me. Mm-hmm. So I'm dealing with all that right now. So, like you said, it's never over. It just gets better during time, but I'm starting to deal with it now. I'm starting to let things play in my head, because I kept stopping it. I wouldn't let it continue. I kept stopping the play button, but now I'm trying to let the play button go a little longer so I can start dealing with it. So I'm sorry about that, Donna.
No, because that's part of the process. And that's another thing. You have to be around people who will let you cry at any given moment, because you never know. Like when my mom passed in 2005. So it's been a while for me. I mean, and I still, I would get to points. Well, actually, those first couple of years, I think, are just a complete fog, because there are just some things I don't even remember. Like, I just don't remember. I remember sitting, like, one time in a diner. My friend was sitting across from me, and it was just like, Donna, like, I was staring out there when I was gone. I was just, I don't know, that whole time period was just a big old fog. Next thing I look up, my niece is graduating from high school.
I know, like, what happened, right?
It's just, so much has happened. But I think I went to, I don't think I did the bounce back as a process. I think I just tried to go on like, business as usual. And there's no such thing. When you're close to your mom, it's not business as usual. She passed in August. School started in September. I was back like, it's time for school, time for work. And I just remember, just out of nowhere, a kid asked, what page did you say to go to? And I just break down like,
do whatever you want to do.
Like, like, page.
Look, do whatever you want to do.
Right? I was like, I said,
pick a page, any page, who cares?
That poor kid, those kids did not know what was happening. I was like, I said page 56. But and then I just walked out of the room crying. Like, it was just crazy, because it was just so much going on behind. Like, after, like you said, when it's over and people leave, there's the paperwork, there's the letters that still come in the name.
You gotta send stuff out. You gotta finalize everything. You gotta close her accounts and talk to you. You gotta keep repeating it over and over and over again. My mother's deceased. My mother's deceased. My mother's deceased. And you know what? The way, I can't say the world, because I don't know nothing about United States, but where we live is not really friendly when it comes to passings. It seemed like the people, especially in corporate world, But it seems like if it's them, they can understand more. But when it's everybody else, you know what I'm saying? Some people are good with it, but as a whole,
Yeah.
they don't understand. It's like they give you 5 days in the corporate world. Some people get 3. They give you 5 days for parents and siblings. Don't
Yeah.
talk
They
about
don't.
no cousins
And
or aunts and uncles. You get a day if you're lucky. If
But,
you're
you know,
lucky. So you know what I'm saying? So you
that's the
going
sucky
back
part.
and stuff because you know, being a school teacher is an important job, and you can't miss a lot of days. Because you miss a lot of days, kids are not learning. So you kind of trying, you still putting people in front of you. You know, I got to deal with mom. I got to go to school because I got to teach these kids. So it never gives you that freedom to be like, you know what, I need a month I need a month.
And you know what, Regina, I
A lot
probably
of people
could
don't get
have.
that.
I didn't even try. Like I didn't even ask for it. I just was really trying to go on like business as usual. And you know, the fact that she was a teacher did not help because like after the first day of school, like I'm calling her like to tell her about my classes, you know, and all that stuff. So
You have so much in
it was
common with your
just
mother.
yeah, it was a
Your
reality.
mother, you look like her. Then you got a nerve to be in the same profession, in the same sorority, and like you walk behind your mother. You did, you know, what your mother did. So she gave you a prime example of being a woman. You
Yeah.
know, like everything. So I get it. I totally get it. It's not like you're going to work now. You're going to work without your confidant or your mentor,
Yep.
because she was the one that guided you when you had bad days at school and dealing with the school stuff. And I get it. I totally get it. You know,
But
but I just feel that you did what you thought was the best thing for you at the time. You felt if I just go to work, maybe I won't think about it as much. If I sit home, I'm just gonna keep thinking about it. And a lot of people do that because they said at least at work it keeps their mind off it, but your mind's not off of it at work. And you're not giving your work 100% because you're still like la 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 la, you know. Mm-hmm.
but you know, everybody's process is different. So guys, you know, those of you who are listening, this, you know, the way my process is not, it may not work for you. The way hers is may not, everybody's process is different. We're just trying to just shed a little light on the fact that you can bounce back. You can. It may not happen overnight. It might take a while, you know, and you will have those moments where you just get a little sad. And there's nothing wrong with that. You just have to be around people who allow you to do that. I was blessed to be in both my mom and my dad. I had people around me who would let me cry. If I just had a moment, just let me have the moment. Don't get frustrated because I'm crying again. Like those, you don't need those people around you.
Yeah.
Yeah, there she go.
There she go, waterworks. There she
Oh,
go.
got hit. Give Regina some tissue. She about to cry.
Here she goes. She about to cry.
No, you need
But
people.
don't you feel though, Donna, like because you lost both of yours, like I lost both of mine. And that's a whole nother loss. When I lost my dad, it hurt, but it made it easier because my mom was here and we shared that together. But now she's gone. Even though I have my birth family, don't get me wrong, because they helped me out so much during this process. Oh my gosh, God, divine order. Thank you, God, for dividing it that way. But at the end of the day, the two people that raised me is now gone. So it's like that unconditional love that you only get from them. There's no one in this world is gonna love you as much as your parents. They ain't no husband or wife, no sibling. They love you, but that's not the same as that love from your parents. And when they both are gone, you feel like an orphan. You feel like, you know, you can't depend. Like if I say something to my parents, I don't have to think about it anymore. You know, you don't have to chase behind them.
Mm-hmm.
You could ask them for stuff or ask them for help, and you don't feel bad asking them because you know that they your best cheerleader. Mm-hmm. But now when you don't have both of them, it feels kind of like you by yourself. And people are like, you're not by yourself. You're not by yourself. I said, you don't get what I'm saying. I have you to a point. A lot of y'all conditional people. I don't have that unconditional like I had. Unconditional, you're never gonna get, except if you get, you know, a good spouse, whatever, that understands unconditional. But most people don't understand unconditional.
Yeah.
And when you don't have that, it makes you feel like you by yourself. Like when situations come up where you want to do those phone calls or a decision you want to make, or you just wanted to talk or something like that, that they'll give you the truth, but yet they know you better than anyone else. It's just a whole nother feeling, don't it? I just like,
Oh yeah.
dang, going, yeah, both gone. Dang, going.
I've been there, but see, I just stay there. Yeah, I don't stay there. You know, one was 2005, one was 2017. So I've had those moments of like, oh my God, like this really sucks. Like I'm just real with it. Like it sucks. Like it's not a feel good situation. You know what I'm saying? When you really think that they're both not here. You know what I'm saying? But I don't
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
stay
you can't
there
stay there, but
like,
it does cross my mind, you know, a lot, you know, right now it's kind of fresh for me.
Yeah, but
you know,
it does cross my mind, but I can't stay there. And so anybody trying to bounce back, you can't stay there either. You could, you know, be in the moment, feel what you feel.
Acknowledge your feelings, please. Acknowledge them. Because if you try to suppress it, it's going to make it worse. Acknowledge your feelings, push through it, and then go on to the next time it happens. Like you can't act like it's not there, because what you're doing is just, you know, delaying what's going to happen regardless. So just kind of like sit. I always say sit sometimes. You got to sit. And that's what I did the last couple of months. I just sat. I kept busy, but in the interim of dealing with my mother, I just sat on it because I couldn't deal with too much. And I got to do little doses so I could be able to get to a point that I could really like saturate. Like, you know, that like I always call my sponge, wringing it out. I kind of had to let it soak in. Now I'm just wringing out a little until I get that out. That's the way I'm handling it. That's the way I have to handle it.
So we kind of are, you know, we're kind of going into the takeaway already. So I'll just do that. You know, we always leave you with something to think about, to think about, to take away and think about. So I guess like the takeaway for me would be to just acknowledge your feelings. You need to feel what you feel and be okay with that. And you need to surround yourself with people who are okay with letting you feel how you feel. Everyone grieves differently. So, you know, you just keep that in mind. You know, your process is your process. I did an episode one time, I think, of one little video talking about your process. I mean, your grief, your process. It applies. The way you grieve is the way you grieve, but you have to allow yourself to do it. Now, the way I did it, you know, the first time, like losing my mom, I did not do it in a healthy way. I'll tell you right now, that just getting up and trying to act like nothing happened. You know what I'm saying? Like everything is okay, because everybody kept talking about your new normal. This is a new normal. Okay, yeah, but it's not like yesterday is not the same as today. Like
not normal.
It's not. And I did not take the time that I needed to really adjust to the fact that my mother is gone. You know what I'm saying? This is someone I talk to like every day. So you really, I would recommend, you know, actually taking the time to feel all the feels, as they say. And if you need to talk to somebody, talk to somebody. And don't just try to, you know, like, well, I can handle it. You know, I'm good. Like, I'll just go to work. Because eventually it's going to come out. It might come out on someone who didn't even do anything. All they said was good morning. You turn around, what's going on?
Let them have it. Yeah.
So I would just, you know, just recommend that you take the time to feel how you feel and understand that your process is yours, and surround yourself with people who understand that. Regina, you want to add to the takeaway? You were talking about just sitting in it, taking the time to do that. Is there anything else you would add?
Yeah. Well, let's just sit into it and acknowledge it and just absorb and then be intentional. So you just sit there for a minute. Don't let nobody rush you. Don't let nobody take you, you know, somewhere you're not ready to go. But yet, don't just sit into sorrow to a point you go into depression. Like it's a balancing act. You got to kind of sit in it, but you got to know when to come on out. You know, because sometimes you sit too long, you get depressed. You come out too quick, you're not ready, then it's what Zona just told you. So you got to find your balancing, and everybody balancing is different. So whatever it makes you feel good, take it in doses, do a little at a time. It's no rush. Just as long as you're doing something and you in movement, you're doing good. Just do a little at a time, and before you know, you look back 6 months later, you'll see how far you came. So don't worry about that, but just do a little at a time, sit, and then do a little bit of time to get you to where you feel like somewhat normal. We know that normal is not going to be the same, and everybody likes to use that word, but that's the only thing you can use to describe to get back into life. So let's just get back to life. Because your mother or your father, whoever was close to you, don't want you to sit in that, because they're good, they are happy, they've been the best they ever been all their lives. They're doing so much better than we are. Believe me, they're doing so much better than we are. We the ones that are suffering. They're not, they good. So deal with it, but know that your parents would not want you to sit there like that. They won't want you to move on and live their life, because they are still with you every single day. Your parents are in your heart, they're in your spirit, they're in your soul. So it's not like they're gone. They're gone, physically gone, but their spirit is with you. Believe me, your parents are always with you. They never leave you. So I would just say that would be my takeaway.
And I think that's an excellent takeaway. And just remember, if you don't remember anything or take anything away from this, just remember that the bounce back is possible. It is possible to bounce back. You just do it at your own pace. But before we go, just if you want to follow Cousin Chat, and I hope you do, I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Don't really use Twitter, but I have it. And I have a YouTube channel, which is where you're probably seeing this video, either here or Facebook. But I also, Regina, before we go, I wanted them to, cousinchat.com, CUZNCHAT.com. That's my website. But I wanted you to talk about your nonprofit before we go. Regina has a nonprofit.
I sure do. So,
yeah.
Oh, you want me to go ahead?
Please talk a little bit about that before we actually end.
All right, I'll make it quick. So, January, I started a nonprofit organization. In the middle of this story, I will tell you about my birth family. So, my birth mother name is Patricia Ann Morton. So, Pam for short. That's her initials, Pam. So that worked out perfect. So, Pam Foundation is about helping women for first to discover their purpose. So discover and cultivate their purpose. So we're here to help you find who you are, and then cultivate it and you becoming the best person or the woman that you could be. So in the interim of to do that, we offer workshops, motivational speaking, organizational tools to help you. Like we have journals and guides and everything to kind of help you in your process, in your journey. We're able to introduce you to life coaches and counselors to help you get through this journey. And my mother who passed, I hate calling her adopted mother, but I have to kind of distinguish the difference. So my adopted mom, Doris Faye Noble Smith, I have a scholarship in her name, and I have gave out 3 scholarships already for women who are ready to make that move and ready to make that plunge and to find out who they are. And we give you seed money to go ahead and get your first session with your life coach or your counselor or your therapist. So those scholarships go towards that. So that's what I'm doing now. We do motivational speaking. We do workshops, like I said. So if you ever need someone to speak on anything, for becoming that person and living your purpose, you can find me on several platforms. I'm on www.pamfoundationinc.org. You can find me on Facebook under the Patricia Ann Morton Foundation Incorporated. You can find me on Instagram, Pam_Foundation_Inc. And you can find me on YouTube, Pam Foundation Inc.
So basically you can be found.
Yep, you can find me in all those locations. But thank you so much for allowing me to talk about my nonprofit. It's really dear to my heart.
You're welcome. And your podcast is coming back in September.
Yeah.
Let's talk.
I've been gone since January. This is my process of coming back. So I am coming back. September 24th is my first episode that I'm going to have. I'm going to do it once a month. And my first episode, I'm so happy to bring to y'all a recording artist. Her name is Felicia Adams, AKA Roxy Blue. And she's coming back. She's actually out. She has some new songs. She has a book called Industry. She got a song called Industry, The Industry. And we're going to interview her, talk about some stuff, show you some reels. We're gonna upgrade the show a little bit. You know, we're gonna be showing you some media and everything as we're talking. It's gonna be cool, more interactive. We're gonna make sure that people are able to talk to the guests. So we're gonna have a great time. And I'm so happy to come back. Let's Talk 1943. That's on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Oh my gosh, podcast as well. So it'll be on all.
So
I have
basically,
so many things.
yeah, you're about to be booked and busy. So, you know, we're getting you bounce, you know, you're bouncing back, you know,
Donna got me. Donna had me bouncing back. Thank you, Donna.
Yes,
This is my first one.
That's what I'm here for.
I
All
bounced
right,
back
so-
from doing the show.
But Cousin Chat, yeah. So like I'll always use my platform to uplift and encourage people. And if I can, you know, share important endeavors of my friends in the process, then that's what I'll do. So we got the Pan Foundation, we got Let's Talk LLC, that's her podcast. And don't forget, she's a professional life coach, professional organizer, and a motivational speaker. So that's it. And if you have a topic or something you would like to discuss on my platform, let me know. And then I can share it with everybody else, just like I did with my friend Regina. So that's it. So until we come back to our next Cousin Chat, think about all of that. There's a lot to think about. All right. Be blessed, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.